This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com.
Conrad from Huntsville wants to know, what'd you think when you saw that the Revival was finally released from their WWE contract last week?
What do you think? The laugh you just had is exactly what I did. Matter of fact, I got a message from Dawson the night before, which would have made 2 nights ago, and he said about 9 a.m. there'll be some good news show up, and that's all he said. Well, 9 a.m. it hit. It surprised me a little bit that they would let him go scot-free. That's the way it should be.
Did you talk to him?
Text him.
He's got an interesting story about that. If you don't know all the details, so he probably doesn't want me to say it here on the show, but it's an interesting story. It's a different approach for WWE. That's for sure. I'll say that.
Well, let he and I talk so that we have a confidentiality, is kept intact, and then maybe we'll talk about it on the next show.
It's going to be remarkable because it's interesting. I think so many fans just assume, because they've sort of been jaw-jacking with the Young Bucks on social media for a few years. And in addition to that, fans have sort of fantasy booked that as a tag team match. And then, you've often talked about how much you would enjoy managing them. I think everybody just assumes they're going to show up in AEW, but, and I do think that'll be tremendous. I got to say though, it feels like we need to at least see them in an NWA ring once. I mean, they're working that throwback gimmick. It looks so much like you and Tully and just wrestling on an NWA canvas, even if it's just for one time, just feels like it ought to be. I mean, it's such a cool gimmick, and I'll just think the world of those guys. And I'm glad that they're free to sort of do what they want right now. And it's going to be an interesting summer for them. I would suspect. Wouldn't you agree?
I would think they would be the hottest commodity in the business right now. And I think everybody is going to be vying for them. Whoever ends up eventually getting them will be a much better company for it. They are the most unselfish, giving guys I have seen come along in a long time. And they have that same mentality that Tully and I and the Horsemen, the original Horseman and the Barry Windham version, and, that we had, and that was go out and steal the show and make everybody in that arena just blow themselves up, either cheering or booing during that match. And I think these guys have the talent. They have the ability. Wherever they land, they're going to be very, very lucky company.
And I hope that if you're a fan of this show and maybe haven't seen much of their stuff, you'll go out of your way to see some of their stuff. If you had the privilege of seeing them on a house show, you got to see what they could really do when they had some time. You saw that same thing when they were with, doing the NXT takeovers. I mean, they had a series of matches there that are just going to be tough to compete with. And, they had a little homage to you and Tully sometimes, from their ring jackets to the stripes on their boots, very Anderson style. It's kind of cool to see how much they've looked up to what you and Tully did and tried to sort of carry on the tradition without being I don't know. You've seen sometimes where the sequel isn't nearly as good as the original and it just feels like a cheap carbon copy. I think these guys are aiming to meet or exceed expectations with a similar look and style.
Well said.
So take a look forward to it wherever they wind up, whatever that may be.
Yep. Hey, I am very, very honored that they took some of our stuff, put their own twist on it. Some cases made it better. And if anybody looks at them and go, God, they're working like the Brain Busters, then I'm honored that somebody looks at it that way.
You ever have a conversation with Tully about them as a tag team?
Not really. Not really. I don't know why. And to be honest with you, I bet you, because before coming back to work with AEW, Tully had been off the radar, and I mean really off the radar for a long, long time. I doubt very seriously if he'd watched very many wrestling shows on television.
Right.
I bet you he is not plugged into those guys. Wouldn't take him long to get plugged into them. Obviously, just food for thought, the way things happen. Tully's looking for a partner for Sean Spears. God damn. What a couple of partners those guys would make. Just food for thought.
Could be interesting. Can't wait to see what happens.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.